Welcome back to Bucky World. Yeesh. So, spent all day getting new rims and tires on the 4Runner at Costco. Where are we? There we are. TRD rim, 17 by 7 with 245, 75, 17 Blizzaks on it. We'll see how that works out. More importantly, though, Limewash just pointed out to me, Dad, is your car leaking oil? There's some ominous looking stuff going on under the S2000. Either rock get kicked up and hit the Fumoto valve or cracked the oil pan or something. Everything had been fine operationally. No oil pressure light when I was driving it yesterday. So I checked the oil and there's about a quart down. And I moved the S2000 into the garage. And this is what is on the ground. Now that's right the location of the oil drain where I thought maybe the Fumoto was leaking a little bit. And you can see that dark area there. S2000 is now in the garage. Gonna get some jack stands under it. Let's see if we can find out what's going on here. I'm setting up for this next shot. Got the S2000 firmly ensconced in the 10 pounds of shop in a 5-pound bag, wedged in. I've got what do I call my motorcycle right now? Sake bomb. It's been Zilla. What was it? It was ZX Puff and stuff. Now it's Sake bomb. So anyway, S2000 crammed in here and had to relocate Limewash KTM SXE5 and my new Beta Cross Trainer 300 so I could make room to work on these. But this whole thing boils down to I like to name vehicles, I guess, and I just realized I haven't named the S2000. I had a black Celica that was, I think I called it Black Sabbath. I had a BMW 320 that I called Baron Munchausen Warenda. My BMW R100S motorcycle was Gearhart. But anyway, what's a good name for an S2000? I bought this thing out of Fairbanks, and it was a little rough cosmetically, I'll be the first to admit. But it was a 35,000 mile car, you know, barely broken in by some standards. Mechanically, was solid. Interior was very good. I commuted with it year round for several years now, and so the aesthetics haven't gotten any better, I have to admit. But, you know, maybe we'll freshen it up. I don't know, maybe we'll shoot the whole thing with bedliner, but for the time being, we've got it in the shop. Oh, let me know if you know of a good name. We've got it in the shop, up on jack stands, and I'm going to get the creeper and Peter Brady. I'm going to get the creeper and slide under, and you and me can find out at the same time what's going on under there. Here we go. Yeah, and I've got my Sally Jesse Raphael Walmart cheaters too. I'm rocking them for my protection and so I can see something. I'll fold you in mirror, pardon me. Not a lot of room in here, have I mentioned. There's Sake bomb. How close do you put your drag bike to the furnace? That's my question. All right. All right, here we go, heading in. All right. These creepers ain't getting any more comfortable or any higher with age, are they? All right. So, just to recap, AP1 F20C, 9,000 RPM. That's the short stroke original first generation version of this Honda S2000 only. They made an engine for this car and then used it in nothing else ever. I love that. And also, I also love, looking for an automatic? Never built one. You're going to have to put your own slush box. Why don't you put a power glide behind this and get back to me? Got a Fumoto valve. That's that brass device there with a glisten of oil on it. And it hangs pretty low. I see nothing else. You can see the sway bar is wet. So it leaked a little bit right there. It leaked a little bit on the sway bar. I don't see a lot of coating on the undercarriage here. See that stub off the exhaust? I want to put an electric exhaust cutout right there. Clearly it's some sort of Helmholtz resonator. Don't make me explain that. You got Google. Basically, it's like playing a musical instrument. It's tuned to resonate at certain frequencies. But I could put an electric cutout right there with the right turn down. I think there's room, and I want to. I so much want to hear this engine at 9,000 RPMs with no muffler whatsoever, but have it controllable, you know. Full regular muffler when I want to be chill, and then catalyzed but unmuffled outlet right there. As far as I can see, that tang for the Fumoto valve hangs down lower than I thought it did. Let me compare it to the rest of the car here. And it had to have gotten tagged by a snowbank or a chunk of ice in the road or something. That's the hazards of driving in the winter. But I don't see, most importantly, I don't see anything hanging out of the block. I don't have any major damage. I dodged a bullet. All I got to do is change the oil and maybe put a safety clip on the Fumoto like the manufacturer advises. So, whew, thank goodness. Rymush and I are going to get the car down off the jack stands and do a proper oil change. The thing is, this car is so low, the floor jack can't get under it, so I have to do a multi-step process and put it down on boards. Not sure if you're going to see us struggling that way or if we're just going to cut to the oil change. What do you think, Rymush?
I think we should cut to the oil change.
It's probably for the best. All right, here we go. Before I take it down off the jack stands, let me show you something cool that Honda does. They actually have a jacking point in the middle of the front axle, essentially. As they manufacture and design this car, their thinking is people are going to be tracking this car. We need to give them a good place where they can swap both front tires real quick. Just shove a jack under there.
Don't we need to get under the car to drain it?
Well, Rymush, funny you should ask that, because the reason that I put up with the Fumoto valve being vulnerable under the car like that is because it allows me to do a topside only oil change. I'm able to, as you see in that one shot, you can see the Fumoto valve for draining and the oil filter right there. So all I have to do is kick an oil pan under the approximate area. Actually, before I drain the oil, I'm gonna unplug the VTEC solenoid. There's the VTEC solenoid. All right. Put them out of the way.
So what's this part right here?
On there. What's that, Rymush?
What's this part right here?
That's the air filter housing. Remove this extension cord out of the way. Hit these clips. It's been some time. You got a heck of a memory. Boom. That's all of them. And then this pops up. For a 2-liter normally aspirated engine, that's a big air filter. Flows a lot of air, and this engine needs it. It moves a copious amount of air for its displacement. That's how it's capable.
Can we put the clips back on?
Go ahead. They're tough. You're getting them. Don't hurt your fingers.
See if I can get those last two. It's going to be a bit of a challenge.
They're a little bit tough for a small guy. Oh yeah, I have that tucked behind it. Move that out of the way. That's okay. You know what's a little bit easier? If you push in on the curved part below that. Yep, push in on that. See that? Nice. Is that all of them?
Fully in? Nope, that one's fully in.
Looks good. Nice job. I'll get my oil filter pliers and remove that oil, or loosen the oil filter at least. Yep. Now I should be able to shoot in there. Just reach in. There it is. Hand loose at this point. And we're going to let that drain down.
Oh, so that's draining?
Yeah.
Can I see?
You can look underneath and see it.
It's like just on the very edge.
I can't tape that, but I'll reach in, flip that Fumoto valve, and see if we can light that up.
What's the Fumoto? Where is it?
It takes the place of the oil drain plug on the car and allows you to drain the oil. So there's the Fumoto valve draining away slowly into the oil pan. And the oil filter is still dripping a little bit too.
By the way, guys, remember to like and subscribe.
Hey, thanks. Yeah. I always appreciate you reminding me to remind them. So here's the oil filter coming out the top side. Nice and easy. Kirkland synthetic. I might throw a little bit of Lucas honey in there to thicken it up a little bit. Got the Honda oil filter. I've messed around. I've run higher capacity Wix filters and played around, but I've gone back to Honda. Why not? That's kind of my thing now, is factory oil filters. So that's what we're going to be using for the oil change. Oh yeah, look at that. It's a mix of high mileage and regular full synth Kirkland. And by the way, if you haven't done the research, check into it. The Kirkland stands up. For the price, it's crazy good. What, $3.5 a quart? Can't go wrong. Real good stuff. God, I appreciate when the manufacturer put the wrapper on it.
What are you doing with that?
So what you're going to do, thanks for asking, lubricate the rubber O-ring by just kind of kissing it on the old one. But I also want to put some oil in this. The oil filter is dry inside, and so the first thing when you start the engine, it's going to be trying to fill that up. And your engine can't get oil until first the oil filter is filled. So I'm not going to fill it all the way, but I'm going to... Now that overfilled it seems, however, that's going to get absorbed into the filter medium. I do that to make sure of it. Oh, I'm going to reach down in there. Can you get me? With the oil filter upside down. Get it in place. Find the oil spigot. Boom. Spin that bad boy on. Still draining. That's one downside of the Fumoto valve, is you better have time to wait. But I got a trick up my sleeve once that stops anyway, and I'll show you that next. I bought this off one of the mechanics that worked for me when I was a Ford service manager. Nice Mac pry bar. Just an easier way to loosen that oil cap. Oops. Just give it a little, and there you go. And at least now I can spin that off nice and easy. And you need to tighten these tight. I've heard many people saying how the oil caps on S2000s wind up back there between the engine and the firewall and give a rattling sound that people eventually find out they've got oil everywhere as well. So the reason I'm doing this now while the oil is still draining out of it is I'm going to run some automatic transmission fluid, some synthetic Valvoline Max Life, ATF. I never, ever, never change the oil on an engine hot. I always do it cold, but I leave the drain plug open and still draining, I rinse it. So there's no, scratch that, there's little chance of sediment being in my engine, of residue, of nasty stuff, because I leave the drain open and pour some either Marvel Mystery Oil, or in this case, some synthetic transmission fluid. I'm going to run it through, let it drain out completely, let it flush out whatever residuals are in the bottom of the oil pan. Then once that's all drained and done dripping, I'll close the Fumoto valve and start filling it with synthetic oil. Got the big jugs, some say, out on the floor. I just before I started in on this, wiped them down top and bottom with a rag to knock off any loose dust. You don't need to be knocking spider webs and mouse turds into that precious, precious crankcase. So that's my tip to you. Now would be a good time to plug the VTEC solenoid back in. Your engine will thank you for it. If you don't do this, your check engine light's going to come on and your car is going to refuse to go into VTEC mode because there's no signal to the VTEC solenoid to do so. I took that off earlier, you may recall, to make a little room for myself. Easier to get at the filter and the Fumoto valve that way. Another thing I'll do while the last of that transmission fluid is draining out is add today's maintenance to the inside the covered door history of maintenance for the Bucky Land Ranch fleet up to this point. We'll tag it in right there and let me get the mileage off the car. The mystic foresaw this day and proclaimed with that knowledge and foresight that we'd be looking at 5.1 quarts. Costco oil conveniently comes in a 5-quart jug, and I've got 0.1 laying around somewhere. As Shane famously said after winning a round of beer pong over at Josh's house, glug glug little buddy. Here comes your first 5. Let me give another 1/10 of a quart. What's that equal? I go a little high, to be honest. This engine burns some oil. And if it has 5.2 in there instead of 5.1, no harm. Gonna let that funnel drain down in there for just a couple seconds. Grab that, pop the cap on, check the dipstick. I'm gonna reset the oil maintenance reminder. I've got a cheat sheet inside the car where I can do that. And I'm also gonna throw the battery tender on here for a little bit, for the overnight anyway, to just help it out. You know, this car sits outside some of the time when I need to use the shop for other purposes, and can't hurt to trickle the battery a little bit here. So I'm going to do that too. I made a quick cheat sheet for 2 common things. One is the routine to teach it how to allow defroster without kicking on the AC compressor, and that's something that you can do through the HVAC settings. It's kind of cool. And the other thing is resetting the maintenance indicator every time you change the oil. So here's my cheat sheet for those. And there's the one I'm worried about right now. Hold trip and reset, ignition on, hold them for 10 seconds, and that should kick the indicator. Power on. You can see the maintenance required. Hey, it went out. Excellent. You can't get much lazier of a fix than doing an oil change to resolve a problem. So, very grateful to Rymush for pointing out that oil leak that might have gone unnoticed by me. Very grateful to fate and karma that my oil leak was not something expensive or even, I mean, I was expecting to do the oil change, so technically the fix was free. Can't beat that. That'll help remain a little bit optimistic sometimes when things don't seem so nicely stacked in life. So thanks for coming by. Thanks for checking it out. Check out the rest of my channel and please subscribe. More coming your way, especially as the weather gets warmer. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff.